wherever you are watching us from. This is Lam, Relationship and Marriage, and we are here back again. Thank you for those who have subscribed to our channel, and thank you for always tuning in to this channel. We really appreciate the returning subscribers. We salute you. And today we are continuing with the topics that we have been discussing, topics on marriage and relationship. And today we have a wonderful topic, but before then, maybe my colleague can introduce herself and then we can enter into the topic.
Hi, welcome back to Relationship and Marriage.
Wow. This is the real deal.
This is
about relationship and marriage.
Yes, my name is Jackie Ngugi.
Karibu sana Jacqueline. And today we are going to talk about one of the hottest topic in this institution of marriage.
Yes.
About the in-laws.
Yes.
And these are important people to us because we have our spouses, parents, father and mother, and these are the people we want to talk about, the role they play in the making of marriage or breaking of marriage.
Yeah.
The role they play. So this is purely what we are going to discuss today. And I think Jack, you can start off. You can start us off with what you want us to discuss.
Maybe to start, what is the hardest story on one of the stories that taught you the most about dealing with in-laws?
You want me to narrate?
You can narrate, you can give a brief, whatever you
want. Right. There are so many stories I've had since I am old enough to have had stories about in-laws in the relationship and marriage. And I am right now, as I speak, as I'm seated here on this chair, an in-law. Therefore, when I am talking about this topic, I really want to tread carefully because I know I am there now. One thing that taught me about the in-laws and the role they play in either breaking or making up a marriage is, I think I've said about my story. Okay, I entered into marriage. I think I was naive, and I think also my background played a role because maybe when I was growing up, I was not well socialized to be able to cope with people and to understand people and to be able to interact with them and actually relate with them. But on the other hand, I had a very, very bad experience when I got married. I got married in a neighboring home. Actually, my in-laws were actually my neighbors as I was growing up. So they knew a lot about us as a family, and we also knew a lot about them.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think played a negative role is that in our home, as we were growing up, there were a lot of domestic violence. And there was a lot of fighting between my mother and my father. There was a lot of, disagreements. And therefore neighbors knew. And this home where I was getting married, they also knew. And this became the fighting point when I got married. You have come from this home that is not functioning, and therefore maybe your marriage will just be like
that
where you come from. And I faced a lot of attacks from where I got married and a lot of abuses. And I really persevered. One time I was almost giving up and calling it quit. But my husband, I reasoned that my husband has no problem with me, and therefore I will stick on to this marriage. And that taught me as an in-law now, right now, the way I would want my child to be treated in another home, I should treat other people's children the same way.
I think maybe to delve a little bit about what you said, there were a little bit of abuses and things like that.
Yeah.
What brings, maybe from your perspective as an in-law, what brings maybe in-laws to that place where they feel they have the need to criticize a person,
the incoming person?
Yes, like a person they don't even know, they don't know them very well, they don't even bother maybe to even learn you. Maybe some bother, but some don't even bother to learn you.
Yeah,
they just start with maybe abuses and insults and now dealing with you from a place of like you're an intruder or you're coming to do something wrong.
So one I learned from my own experience is that my husband used to be told, you want to get married to this home where there is always quarrel. There was a lot of poverty in that home, and therefore that one is one of the contributing factor. Where you are going, if they happen to know you, they judge you from where you are coming from, and therefore they don't respect you because they know where you are coming from. They don't have value for you, and they think your behavior, your character, everything about you is the poverty they are seeing in your home. And therefore you are judged harshly, and they don't respect you, they don't value you, and therefore they can say anything. That is one of the contributing factor. The other one is whereby the parent, that one I didn't experience. The parent feels, actually I did at some point, the parent feels let me talk about she, because we interact more with mother-in-laws more than father-in-laws. She feels, I educated my son, and this girl has come to take away what I should be given now that my son is working.
Do you feel like that yourself as an in-law? As in, how do you view maybe your son-in-laws or your daughter-in-laws? Now you have daughter and son-in-laws.
Let me first list the reasons why I think the in-laws really attacks the people who comes to their homes. So the second reason is that they feel you have come to take away what they were always having. Like for example, the son has been helping her, giving her money, uplifting the home, doing all the stuff in their home, and now they have come a stranger who comes with her burden, and you start getting children, so this son is not able to give what they were giving. And therefore they feel this girl has come to take away what we were getting. And therefore there is always a conflict between you and them. The other one is that people just choose to hate you for nothing. You know, there are people who hate you for the way your nose looks, your mouth looks, your hair looks. They just hate you for nothing, and they don't want to see you in their home. That is another contributing factor. I've said the financial status, if you're married, and that is also another one, financial status. If you're married to a rich family and you come from a poor family, I remember I was interviewing a girl who was saying she was rejected by the in-laws just because she had come from a poor family and the husband's family were rich. So that can be another contributing factor, the financial status of the two families. And therefore this family that is rich feels this girl should not be married in our home. We should get another girl from a family that is in the same level with us in terms of finances. The other contributing factor can be if you get married and you go to stay with the in-laws in the same compound, in the same place. Of course, because of the interaction here and there can be a conflict. And of course, when you are near them, there is no respect. And that is why the Bible says, a man shall leave their home, and a woman shall leave their home, and they shall go and become one. So we are not supposed to stick to where we are getting married, unless financial status dictates so. Although I've seen people who stay together and they cope well, it depends also on the people where you are getting married.
What type of a mother-in-law do you think mothers should be?
I think, and you are putting me on a hot seat because I am one. A mother-in-law should really take the people who come to their home. I know it's hard because this person who is coming to your home, you did not give birth to them. They are just strangers. But I have started by saying, the way you would want your daughter to be treated in another home, treat that lady who comes to your home the same way. Like she's your own child. Treat her like a human being. Don't mistreat her just because she is not your daughter or he is not your son. I think as mother-in-laws, we should embrace the people who comes to our home.
Yeah.
And remember that these are human beings, just like we are. They have their weaknesses and they have their strong points.
Yeah.
Learn the weakness of the people who have come to your home, learn their strength, and love them the way they are.
I think there's something you've said that is interesting. You've said they learn.
Yeah.
So normally in an African culture, most of the time the daughter who comes is expected to learn the way she is and cope that way.
Yeah.
And most of the time you'll find both of you are human beings.
Yeah.
How I've grown up my whole life is not how maybe things are here. And this is a new environment. I'm trying to adapt as best as I can.
Yeah.
How do mothers now make that situation better? Because you see, I'm being judged, but I'm also trying to adapt. So I don't know how to behave because I'm not part of family.
There must be a lot of understanding, both to the daughter that is coming in and to the parent that is receiving this new person. And I'm not just talking about a daughter, even a son.
Yes.
So you must learn that these people are different from how you have brought up your children. And therefore you must learn who they are before you start judging, before you start abusing them, before you start attacking them. Because once you attack, then these children start protecting themselves, building a boundary. And it means they will cut off the relationship between you and them. And therefore that is why, even when I feel the people who are married in my home have their weaknesses, I try not to look at the weakness of this person, but to look at the strong points. Because all of us, we have our own weaknesses. And we have our own strong points. Whether you are a mother-in-law, whether you are a daughter-in-law, whether you are a son-in-law, whether you are a father-in-law, all of us, we have our own weaknesses. And that is what people should learn. Even where we work, people behave differently. Even the sisters and brothers, you behave differently. When you learn that people are different, and you learn the love of Christ, which has no boundary, the love that loves all, with weaknesses and with the strong points, then I think there'll be a good relationship between the sons-in-law, daughters-in-law, mother-in-laws, and father-in-laws. Because once you start attacking this daughter, or you start attacking the son, because like me, I have a son-in-law right now, and I have a daughter-in-law. Once I start attacking them, they build a boundary. Meaning that even your own daughter now will find it hard to come to your home, because remember that this daughter has gone to build a home with your son. This son has gone to build a home with your daughter. And therefore, when you cut them off, it's like you are cutting the whole family, because nowadays people really value their families. So if you want to bring your children closer to you, do not go attacking the in-laws that have been brought to you, the daughter-in-law or the son-in-law, and then the daughter-in-law and the son-in-law respect the mother-in-laws or the father-in-laws. Just give them the respect they deserve. And sometimes it can be hard, Jacqueline, because some don't even want you to settle. Even before you settle, they start attacking you. And you start wondering, where have I gone wrong? What did I do?
Maybe to ask, is it hard now for you as parents, maybe to see the children or those in-laws who have been brought, they're either the spouse to your children, is it hard to see them as anything positive?
Let me answer it by saying this. These are two strangers brought to me, and they are not my children, and I've not brought them up. And therefore they come from very different backgrounds. And therefore, actually one of them comes from a different tribe. And therefore, like I have said, it's not easy. Because you have to understand these people who are strangers to you. And you bring them closer to your family. And you make them feel comfortable in your home, that they can highlight, they can say anything. Because this is their home now. They have left where they came from, they have come to your home, and they have joined your family. Whether you like it or not, it is a husband to your daughter, it is a wife to your son. And you cannot change that as long as this daughter or this son loves them. So the only thing you can do is to bring your family closer. And if you really like your family, family, then you have to love these two, or whoever comes in your home, so that you don't throw your children away and they feel that my mother is rejecting my wife, my mother is rejecting my husband, and therefore I will cut off from my mother or my father.
Yeah.
So it is very, very important, however hard it is, to build peace. That is why the Bible tells us, seek peace and pursue it. It's not easy to seek peace. And on top of seeking peace, pursue it.
Yeah.
So God knew it's not easy to have peace.
Yeah.
But you have to seek it and pursue it. Whether it means humbling yourself. Because when you beat your chest, I am mother-in-law, people are supposed to listen to me, people are supposed to obey me, people are supposed to bow before me, then you go wrong. Because even your own children cannot come to bow before you. And therefore, it is good to practice the love of Christ with the people who come to your home. It is good to be patient to them. It's good to learn they are different from your children, and therefore you accept them with their differences and their weaknesses and their strong points.
There's something that you said before, and you said that even sons, you mentioned that this is even about sons. But most of the time in the African culture, mother-in-laws mostly have problems with daughter-in-laws more than son-in-laws. I don't know why. Is there a relationship between mothers and sons that causes more attacks on the daughters than on the sons?
So you feel that the daughter-in-laws are more attacked than the son-in-laws?
Yes.
I think the reason is that the son-in-laws don't interact so much with the mothers-in-laws. Because, like for example, Hope, who is married to my son, will come to the kitchen when we are cooking.
Yeah.
In the bedroom when we are there. But your husband, it is rare that he will come and be in the kitchen. It is rare that you will sit down with him and talk. Most likely you will go with your father outside and talk. So there is no much discussion between the son-in-laws and the mother-in-laws, but there is a lot of interaction and talking between the daughter-in-laws and
is it also an issue of culture that we define certain characteristics for daughter-in-laws that are put that more than for son-in-laws? Because a son-in-law will come drunk maybe to a get-together and there won't be much of it. But if a daughter-in-law refuses to serve guests and sits down, it will be more disastrous than the son-in-law coming drunk to the meeting.
It's true.
So I don't know why, but the African culture has put
so much
emphasis on the woman that I think it causes the whole.
I think our culture somehow has contributed to some of these problems because a man is highly put there. A man is not supposed to be questioned. A man is not supposed to go to the kitchen. And there are some standards that have been put for a woman. A virtual.
You are not supposed to do this.
You are not supposed to go
do this.
You are not supposed to come drunk. You are not supposed to refuse to go to serve guests. You are supposed to do the work in your house.
You are not supposed to sit down.
You are not supposed to talk when
if you're told something, you should run.
You accept. You accept without questioning. And that is the biggest problem, because I see in the whites, people are free to say their thoughts. If I am not comfortable, I'll say I'm not comfortable. And the people will not take that as an abuse or a disrespect or arrogance.
That's actually where I was
disrespect.
Going. That's where I was going, because in the African culture, if you talk, then it's disrespect. Even if voicing your opinion is a disrespect, it's considered disrespectful. Even if you have not said it in a bad way, it's considered like you have disrespected.
Like I was saying, Jacqueline, I want to mention that person, although as an example, I was looking at Marwa. I am Marwa. The lady she's engaged to, Rocio, is a white from Argentina. And that lady, they sat with Cograt's mom, who is supposed to be the mother-in-law to be. And they were discussing about whether this lady should give birth to children or whether Mara should get married to two women.
Yeah.
And she was freely highlighting what she feels.
Yeah.
But
and if he was.
Let me tell you, Congrats mom actually accepted what Roshio was saying. But if it was an African mom and an African lady,
it will not.
That can be very dangerous.
Because the mother was understanding this is Mzungu.
Yeah.
And he was
have
dealing with her
culture.
from that side.
Yeah.
But you see, in an African culture, if you try to say the same
argue.
voices, you'll be termed stupid, you'll be termed foolish,
Exactly.
and they'll see you as someone. What is wrong with you?
Why are you questioning your mother-in-law?
Questioning your mother-in-law. Why don't you want to have kids?
Exactly.
It's about you,
And actually,
but you don't
she
also
told
still
her-
have an opinion.
She told her about the culture. In our culture, we are supposed to have, women are supposed to have children.
Yeah.
In our culture, men can marry many women. And also told her, now in my culture, you are not supposed to do that. You see? But if it was an African lady,
and you see, it's not her
Specifically.
culture, it's her family.
Exactly.
Because in her culture, there are still people who have
married to
different people.
Exactly.
So it's in her family. So it's a conflict of the families, just like in Africa
Yeah.
it would be. But now in Africa, if you dared to say that, hey,
you have disrespected mother-in-law.
it will
You
be
are not
considered you are
a
not a
wife
good daughter,
material.
you're not a wife material.
Exactly.
But you're trying to voice your opinion to say, this is not what I'm standing
Yeah.
for. And why should you, my next question will be, why then do they term Africans? You have to like pretend to stand for things you don't believe in that relationship.
You
with
know,
in-laws.
Africans, I'm sorry to say that, and because I'm an African, there is a lot of pretense when it comes to relationship and marriage.
Yeah.
Like when I was getting married to my husband's family, one day I was called, and we had an argument with my sister-in-law. Actually, not an argument. She actually stood on the road to abuse me, and for nothing. And we were called by my mother-in-law to discuss about that. So I was expecting my sister-in-law would be there so that we can discuss why did this happen and what brought this discussion and what brought this abusive language to be used on me. But unfortunately, when I went there, my sister-in-law was not there. It was actually a meeting to rebuke me and to put me down and to say how bad I am. Yet I am the one abused. I didn't abuse. Actually, the people who are passing by, they asked me whether I was employed by that lady because I never answered back.
Yeah.
But now I've been called to be pressed down once more that you are the one in wrong, and yet she was the one in wrong. And I really felt bad, and I was really quitting that marriage and giving up because I felt it's not fair. And that is what is happening in our African society. A lady marries a family, you collide straightly with either brother-in-law or sister-in-law. The mother-in-law sides with the daughter and puts you down, and maybe the daughter is in mistake. It is the daughter who is in mistake, but it is like, I'm not saying all the families are like that, but majority of the families are like that. It is very rare that you find, like now, Hope quarrels with you, I side with Hope. But to me, actually, and you know it, I can side with a child who is not mine.
Yeah.
Because I feel it for him or her. If the mother is not there and the father is not there, I'm the mother and the father.
Yeah.
So it is very, very sad and very, very awkward to find the in-laws. It's like they term the daughter and the son-in-laws are people who are not supposed to be loved. They should be put there, not speak up their mind, not talk about anything. Actually, it happens that even in our families, when we are called for meetings, the people who are married there,
they are not
the daughter and the sons will enter the house with the mother.
Yeah.
Now,
And you're told to stay outside.
You are left outside. But when it comes
And
to
you're told
duties,
you're not even part of the family.
exactly.
Yeah.
But when it comes to cooking and the duty,
You are
the
called
family.
to cook.
So
And
so
if you don't
awkward.
go, you'll be told you're supposed to be going to your
Yeah,
things for your
disobedience.
families.
Exactly. But when they are holding the family,
Uh-huh.
family meetings, you are not part of it. But when it is duty, money, you contribute, and duties, you cook, you do what? You are part of the family.
How do you think we should set boundaries maybe now?
I think
That
our
now
our
comes.
spouses, especially men, men should put a border, and they should be strong. Because I see in our culture, for example, you'll be rebuked like that, and your husband is there and not talking on your behalf. And I know people can relate with me. You are called a meeting, and they are discussing about you, and your husband is there, and he's not supporting you. I think men should stand for their wives as long as their wives are right. I'm not saying that if a wife is arrogant, abusive, disrespectful, you support her. But if you know your woman is respectful to your mother or your father, then you should stand for her. You stand for her and you be principled. You make these people realize this is my woman, this is my wife, and therefore you should respect her. The same case applies to ladies. Like now you have your husband. Make us realize this is my husband and I'm not changing him. And therefore you have to come to
terms with it.
Exactly. And you come to an in-between whereby you agree and he agrees, you come to an agreement to stay together in peace. So men actually should stand for their women. Women should stand for their husbands. So that the in-laws can realize there is no way I can enter this family and start, they go even to an extent of interfering and calling the husband or calling the wife and tell her, they call their son or they call their daughter and tell her your husband is this and this, your daughter, your wife is this and this. It's like they want you to separate. Very, very unfortunate.
And it's really bad because I don't know what type of a human being does that to another woman.
Imagine.
Especially as a woman, you've been married before, you've dealt with it. Why would you go and do the same things?
Would you want to be treated the same way
Not even
where you got married? In other words, would I want the way I was treated when I got married
to treat people the
same way? Or would you have felt good if you are married and you are treated the same way you are treating that person? I think it's not right. As mother-in-laws, I'm talking to you, and father-in-laws, respect your daughters and your sons' marriages. Respect the people who have been brought in your homes. Support them, embrace them, love them, and there'll be a peaceful environment and coexistence between the two families and your daughter and your son. In other words, there'll be good relationship in the family.
I think there's one thing maybe just to really comment about it. It's in a relationship that now integrates the in-laws. Is it paramount now to introduce maybe the love of God? Because there's something you said, these children are not yours. And you have to learn to love them in a different kind of love, not like a mother. Not just like a mother. Because you can't relate to them. You have not born them. You have not raised them up. You don't understand them. So isn't this where now we introduce the love of God and not just a way to say that I love these children, just to proclaim it for their sake, but to show with your actions that these are my actions about the love of God in your life. And I think maybe for me, I have sons currently, and one of the things maybe I will consider later is to tell God to teach me to understand each and every one of them. Like both of them, my children, they have different personalities. So I tell God to teach me each and every one of them how to raise them separately, because they are very different. So there's one that will need nurturing, but there's one I need to release because he needs to have his space. So each of these are different character that they have. So it means that there's a way that maybe you as in-laws, they need to integrate to the love of God to understand these children you've been brought for, they are not the same. How should I participate as a mother-in-law? And you see, as a mother or a father to that child, you've been given as a steward. How do you handle the stewardship of the child you've been given? Because you see, when you go to heaven, I think there's something that most mother-in-laws don't understand. We are your children, which means as your children, you are a steward to my destiny. Which means if you hurt me, then you'll have an answer to God about what my destiny. What did you steward? Did you steward me to hurt, or did you steward me to propel to become a person that God wanted me to become?
Let me say,
just like
that can only be understood by somebody who knows God.
Yeah.
And somebody who knows God, there's so much that he actually can do. But unfortunately, maybe some in-laws don't know God.
Yeah.
But even there are people who don't know God who treat their daughters
better.
Good, very good. So we are saying it's about humanity.
Yeah.
Learn to love. Learn to embrace.
Yeah.
Learn to know that whatever you would want to be done to you, do to the other person.
Yeah.
And I think the world shall be a better place to live in. And life shall be joyful and enjoyable.
Yeah.
When you love other people and you embrace them. Because Jacqueline, when I look at my home now, if I start hating the people who have come to my house, I am chasing my children away from me.
Yeah.
And one thing that I love in my lifetime is family. What? Family ties. And family time together. And when I hate your husband or I hate hope, then it means that family ties is not there. So I have to learn to embrace them so that I can have that family time and family ties being strong. So it is just a matter of teaching ourselves. I know it's hard because sometimes I also pray. By the way I used to pray for my children and their destinies before even you got married when you were in school. But now I have a duty to put your husband and to put hope in my prayers.
Destinies.
And it's not easy.
Yes.
Sometimes I find myself praying for my children. Then I remember, no, my children have other people who have come in, who are also my children. And I have a duty to pray for their prosperity. Because my children's prosperity relies on their prosperity.
Yeah.
And therefore, I have to put them together and pray for them.
Yeah.
Because my children's destiny are intertwined in their destiny.
That's actually one of the things that maybe is what maybe most of us or mother-in-laws don't realize.
Yeah.
It's their children's destinies are tied to our destinies.
Yeah.
Our peace of mind is their peace of mind.
Yeah.
There's an intertwining between me and my husband in the way you relate with us. If you strike me or strike him a lot, my interaction with you and how also we are at home together will be influenced by that. So I don't know why it never comes to mothers maybe to reach
I know this topic we can talk about it. But I want to tell the in-laws and the in-laws to be that it is good to realize if you love your children, then you should love the people who comes in their path.
Yeah.
Because, like I have said, if you pray for your children's prosperity is intertwined in the prosperity of the people they are with. You cannot pray for for example, I cannot pray for my son to prosper and I don't pray for hope to prosper. Because my son's prosperity is intertwined in hope's mindset,
to
peace
prosper.
of mind,
and
the Lord she prays to hold this son of mine so that he can prosper. Jama's prosperity is intertwined in your prosperity. If Jama is able to go up, then I know my daughter will be comfortable. So I think that alone, the love of your children should propel you to love even the people that comes their path. That is very, very paramount. If you really love your children, you should actually be very, very careful to treat the people who comes on their life properly. And I think we'll wind up at that.
We are good to go. You want to end the channel?
Yeah, you can end.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
See you in the next